Hello, this is Dr. Justina Agnieszka Chevallier. I am making this video to add a new project that I added because there is a need for it. I called it a project Castaway, and it is a project that has as purpose of it in good faith, which means bona fide, meaning to benefit all at the expense of harm or death, as well as disparities of none, to remove from the territory of the United States, and I've been trying to prepare for it so that it is safe to do for quite some time, a creation of people in so-called caste by collecting information or labeling people, including when people possess means, as homeless. And I called it that project Castaway. What that problem socially consists of? It consists of actually a setup of a system in which people, because of decentralization and also because in many cases wanted, however, with some side effects, so to speak, or collateral negative effects, diversity in the United States. The problem consists of having people who are at the most need to establish income and emancipate, create from people as if a group of children, or as if homelessness was or is a permanent state to elaborate. And I will give you an example of that system. It is not to blame. Of course we can, and that is the goal, okay, track down people who have given posts in organizations so that each and every person corrects it to the best of outcome for all, because every single person has right to use all of guaranteed by Constitution of the United States and International Declaration of Human Rights, children as well as women, derived from own bodily needs at no disparities, use resources pertinent to Homo sapiens, and not being forced those on, including basic needs, to prejudice, temporary or long term. I will give you an example of such. So, for example, if it is that a person like I has no income, so zero income, because of let's say like a startup trying to as I do as multidisciplinary health consultant, including human rights activism or animal rights activism. If somebody is trying to make on a network, gather clients and be honest at it, also respecting all personal relationships, it is just that at some point we seem to be too poor and too badly equipped to be at all listened to, responded to in any circumstances, including in important offices such as courts, such as workforce, so places that provide employment. And it is just that when one looks at prerequisites, so those rules that especially clerks at the offices use, so what it takes to be able to file, say, a lawsuit, or what it takes to obtain so-called live metro ticket, so 3 months of use of free rides in vast, huge area of Los Angeles, to be able to look for work, advertise, also eat, and not end up with walking blisters. Well, if one looks at the prerequisites and goes to the website advertised vastly by metro station of prerequisites of what it takes a phone, access to Wi-Fi and a device, identity cards and a scanner, as well as then, that is facilitation, signed on proof of no income. However, you see, many persons who are or have been outcasted, so as if waiting to be forced by inflicted by the setup suffering to basically leave the country on bus stops close to larger highways in tents, etc., or on a seashore. I don't know, is there a boat somewhere? Because I've encountered, by the way, a lady who was pushed out of the country together with children and sold. Okay, she now is back and she's pursuing that legally, but that is the outcome, or people get killed somewhere abroad or struggle in Poland. That was the case of our Blondinka, so that is now a lady who became a journalist. But I mean, also relying on donations or random people, sometimes necessary if one is out of everything, right? That is also, it poses risk to own health. So assaults, rapes, being kidnapped, unwanted marriages wiped out of everything, etc. Unwanted pregnancies as well, accidents, staged acts of hatred. And so that is why you see, when Life Metro program, that is an example, because that is also DMV and many other places, okay, that is the setup. The set of rules to fill out a given prerequisite to be able to become as empowered to self-represent and exist as a human includes things that a person each does not possess at a given time. And so, for example, Life program asks for cell phone, scanner, Wi-Fi access, and capacity to get there, you see. And so a copy of that ID is a scanner, for instance. That's identity card, also another prerequisite that requires going to an office and having such at hand. Some people have expired those and they don't have it. Okay, another trick. Another one, it is, for instance, the follow-up, so phone to call back. That is money, and a person outside, okay, for instance, wiped out of all resources and or living in a tent in that outcasting for now centuries or years, sometimes some say from father funders, okay, in aspirations from abroad to provide us clothes, food, etc., but in fact present as worse somewhat, purchase the lands and this and that, and dispense work or in corporations or land at whim of people abroad, okay, as we engage in conflicts based on diversity, so based on accents, genders, looks of people, ethnicity, races, etc., ages or marital statuses. That is all not needed. If a person declares like I that we want to be in the United States as home, that is sufficient to pursue it, especially if that person like I developed to the land, okay, loyalty and love, as well as to people, whichever comes first, or whichever comes at all for some reason, as opposed to saying no, please let me go outside, because outside that's where I feel like at home, okay. And so, for instance, in those prerequisites in Metro, that is a person who is truly devoid of resources. So the best candidate to issue that 3 months free, to resolve that ticket, is a person who, in fact, and I've proven that applying for it, has no chance to have that ticket. I applied for it, I got a confirmation, then I heard nothing back. That card that I got from church at 0, okay, and so for now, though I have a contract and from that Life program, I obtained no ticket and no resources to swipe it. So what did I do? I next took that and as false advertising, and I sued because I called that metro station. I was again sent back like a ping pong ball, walking to another agency. I emailed twice, also no response, people ignored. And you see, that is purposeful non-bona fide, so to prejudice, to create a caste of people called homeless at the point of time where help is needed. And then I experienced in churches, for instance, diverse churches, because I first did a little bit of that kind of like a field assessment, okay, for myself, because otherwise there is no point. I mean, no point, it would be fake. It is not fake. I mean, I'm a real person. It is a real situation that I am facing. Not that I do not work. I do. It's just that, you see, in false pretenses, so that old-fashioned like setup of marriage, we create out of men and women people that, like animals, are fed by or given basic needs to by churches or by others,
per whim of people, or stuck somewhere permanently, and that is again at the doing, also at non-faultness of people, at the doing of people who put pressure on people to admit to disabilities or cause accidents and distress, create forged mental or other health issues that stem from exhaustion, mental and physical exhaustion, like a run through a forest, hunted animals. And so that is, you see, not acceptable. So because I was ignored long enough and no ticket, and I had, feet blisters, and I started to be tired, that advertising of live program all over, okay? And in church, for instance, I asked for that assistance. The most common, not all, there was one exception, Sir David, who works at a church, Catholic church in Encino, for instance. He tried to act bona fide and offered things that I can use to actually move forward from spending all means, being forced to. Why? Because income was and has been impeded by ignoring, so negligence, or prejudicing, so offering jobs below qualifications or not within a scope of qualifications. Prejudicing in case of I am a multidisciplinary health consultant with accomplished graduate and postgraduate medical education, meaning a general practitioner with as if an equivalent of a medical doctorate in practicing medicine. So very much so I am qualified to do also human rights activism, patient activism based on fellowship sponsored by the Obama administration, by US government, and then work at the university. I was never addressed by, despite 3 or 4 books, or corresponded to in emails by workforce or other agencies to actually acknowledge my work, offer contract or payments, facilitations to publish work, giving sample of free work, meaning work that I've done already was never reviewed nor commented, or reviewed in bad faith and immediately, as if in hatred, discarded, appealing to womanhood, okay, which consists sexual molestation, or if that person could be loved, sexual harassment, right? And so that is an excuse to accumulate riches in disparities in some places, and other people push people away. And also violating adulthood freedom to choose adulthood family based on mutual consensus of interest of 2 people, okay? Forced relationships or pregnancies to get those benefits, or charges, really mental or other charges, including those that become with time real as opposed to fake. Also impeding divorces is common. And so that is why, you see, I, like in the church, when I approached, I was told, no, we thank you for all of your work. We want to give it back. Nothing we want from you. We're just going to give you one-time temporary something to eat, or something to, a metro ticket. Then it was for free, but it was scope like only advertised when it's gonna reinstall. So I didn't know that is another problem. At whim, like then framing those workers to become conflicted as to what to do is also a stress, so mental anguish, and so that belongs to, because I am overall in good general health standing, to small claims court. And so you see, we cannot as an excuse say, we don't expect anything because we are a charity, while impeding in those false pretenses people from earning an income and emancipating, especially people that are single, widowers or widows, as well as very young and coming of age, as well as emancipated children, okay? Because it is not bona fide, so it is a moral rule used to prejudice. And so that accumulates, it is as if, let's say, I will give you an example. I am an executive officer of a major corporation, as an example. And I decided that today I am going to give a pro bono, for instance, people free coffees for all. So I give those coffees, but whoever it is that wants to make coffee for self is not allowed under any circumstances to do so. Meaning, I then pursue actively that people have to come and obtain that coffee from me long term to outsource any competition, and that on an individual basis applies also to relationships, to present self as more attractive, as if work is basically not in altruism pursuit, be it paid or not, but a miniskirt to woo somebody. So now in courts, just to give you heads up, it is possible to file small claims lawsuit as so-called a hobo using the general delivery post office, because we have common laws and it is a precedent. And I filed it in Santa Monica Courthouse, Superior Court of California, Los Angeles, on Main Street in Santa Monica, case number 22SMCC00 SC again, excuse me, 22SMC again, no, 22SMSC, yes, 00099 again, 22 Stefan Michael Stefan Common 00099. Case name Justyna Agnieszka Chevallier versus Metro Public Transport of Los Angeles. And with fee waiver, it cost me $0 to file it. I encountered resistance to do it. I am now trying to file a civil lawsuit against Polish consul. And so similar actually it is to push out of resources and cost suffering, to push out of country, the same as US citizens. And so this is, what does it mean? It is a precedent. It means that you take that name of that case, so Justyna Agnieszka Chevallier versus Metro Public Transport of LA, and case number 22SMSC00099, filed on January 19th, 22. Clerk name is Sherry Courter, Executive Officer, Clerk of Court. And whenever it is that you find that a person asks explicitly to pay for use of justice that is guaranteed by Constitution for free for all, for funds, for monies, for any sort of addresses, forces, shelters, temporary solutions, etc., which is unlawful in whichever situations you are, including seizing documents enclosed for police, for better or for worse. Sometimes it is for worse. That's an example. Correspondence, okay? Asking for addresses or befriending whoever it is living somewhere else. No, you can find, and do not misuse it, when you are a subject of persecution or outcasting out of law, also on a constitutional right, now using this in any court of the United States as well as abroad. It is especially, for instance, pour la France and Polonia, in Poland i Polskę również, ale nie tylko, also in Latin America, etc. Because laws are universal. Whoever signed the Declaration of Human Rights has the right to file it. No fund needed, no money needed, and also no address needed. Any sort of circumstance that caused sufficient suffering to pursue in court, impossible to stop otherwise. Thank you, Dr. Chevallier, at your services. Bye bye.